Coach Shannon coming at you from Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. This is a different kind of blog. It's going to encompass the discussion of U23 European Championships and the U23 World Championships. I'm sitting in the living room of an apartment of Minga. This is the guy I'm staying with. Behind me, you might be able to see a Mongolian wrestler there. There he is. There's a lot of stuff in this room as well. Nonetheless, let's get right into it. U23 World Championships comes around likely because of the success of the U23 European Championships. And I have a couple of different ideas on those particular tournaments. One idea is there's also a tournament called World University Games and World University Championships that is in that age range, I think from 17 to 28. And now USA Wrestling, which is an affiliate of United World Wrestling, will sponsor for the most part or championships for the world level for 23 and under. The challenge that I see for the USA athletes is we also have a collegiate season that will be going underway at the same time. This year's U23 World Championships is scheduled for, I think, November, which is the beginning of the collegiate season in the USA. If you go NCAA Division I, Division II, Division III, NAI, and junior college, they typically in the USA start having competitions right around then. So if you're not in the USA, you may be saying, who the heck cares about what the USA is doing? And you have a pretty good point. In terms of planning and trying to get the most effective and efficient tournaments for our USA athletes to compete in so that we can be competitive on a world level in freestyle, women's wrestling, and Greco-Roman, this is something that USA coaches have to take a really good look at. For one, I believe currently there are tournaments just about every single weekend that we can go to. And one of the reasons why I created this blog was to highlight some of the principles of periodization, which I like to call high performance training. In a nutshell, if you have too many competitions during the course of the calendar year, how do you peak for the main event? To be certain, if the World Championships is the main focus and we compete 30 weekends before that, would we have enough energy left to peak at that last competition? Periodization suggests that you don't necessarily need to compete every single weekend, however you can. Generally at the younger level, because the tournaments don't have the same amount of length in matches, you may be able to get away with it. As you get stronger and you develop more, it is harder to compete every single weekend because you have to travel, because you have to make weight, because you likely are going to be strength and conditioning, you likely are going to be doing technical training, and you likely are going to be doing a lot of live wrestling. When you combine all of those together with the competitions and the travel, now you may have an over-fatigued athlete by the time the Europeans or the Nationals or the World Championships comes up. How does this all play for USA athletes? Well, if the World Championships is at the beginning of the season, how would they compete successfully over the course of the year? They would likely need some sort of break, 2 to 3 week break prior to the season starting. And how would the NCAA take a look at that? Well, a couple of different reasons. The NCAA probably is not concerned with the U23, but I'm suggesting that USA Wrestling and American coaches, primarily the collegiate coaches, need to be taking a look at that. Freestyle women, on the other hand, in the USA, freestyle is the selected sport for collegiate wrestling. So that there's another angle there. I mean, it falls right before their competitive season as well. So not only do you have the U23 World Championships, you also have the Senior World Championships, which is 17 and older. You also have the World University Games and/or Championships, which goes up to 28, which basically they can be 17 years old and start. You also have the Junior World Championships, which is 17 through 20 for the most part. 20 and under is what they usually call that. You also have the Cadet World Championships, which is 17 and under, and you also have all of the other age group championships in the USA, like high school nationals, junior nationals, etc. So I'm putting all those to you to suggest that that's a lot. So coaches really need to take a hard look at that and plan accordingly. Ultimately, the goal for UWW, United World Wrestling, is the Olympic Games. The World Championships are held successive years in between, and I think recently, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, they added a World Championship in the Olympic year because we don't have all of the weights in the Olympic Games. USA Wrestling, their goal primarily is the same thing: national championships, world championships, and ultimately to put a team together for the Olympic Games. I'm suggesting that Coaches and athletes are going to have to take a hard look at that to make sure that they periodize their training plans, use some type of high performance training plan, especially if they're going to compete in the U23, especially if they coincide the U23 with their collegiate season, either with women's or the men's, which is it's going to be at the start of the season, coupled with all of the other world championships that they may make. Now, some coaches may be saying this: my athletes aren't going to compete in those competitions. Well, that's fine. What about the athlete that says this to you: I would like to be an Olympic champion? Do you take away those opportunities from that student athlete? I certainly would. And I want to give that student athlete every motivation, every encouragement, every positive sort of body language that I can, that they can actually make the Olympic team too. But it has to start with them being competitive at those other international styles of wrestling. So I say that because that U23 is right at the beginning of the season, and they may also be going to the World University Championships. They may also be going to the 20 and under World Championships, and they may also be going to the Cadet World Championships. Something for us to think about going forward. One more little note: they've created these age group sort of things so that they can create more opportunity. In the Olympic Games, for instance, for soccer or football, it is U23 because World Cup is their big event. So there are other U23 events all over the world in different sports. But as coaches, we just need to take a hard look at it to make sure that we're giving our athletes the best chance to be successful. You gotta hustle the hardest.